The Hall of Crowns stretched beyond the horizon, a grand corridor forged from obsidian alloy and illuminated by pulsating starlight veins running along the walls. Each colossal banner suspended from its vaulted ceiling bore the sigils of civilizations long ago subdued, an archive of victory written not in ink but in conquest. High Sovereign Xerix sat upon a throne of echoes, a monolith carved from crystallized voidstone said to hum with the memories of every defeated ruler. Holographic sectors flickered before him, each projection displaying the newest addition to the Dominion's unbroken chain of expansion. For nearly 4 centuries, the Dominion had known no equal. Its fleet, the eclipsed phalanx, was feared even in sectors where no Dominion patrol had ever flown. Worlds surrendered long before the fleet arrived, intimidated by stories of perfectly coordinated annihilation. Xerix kept his 4 eyes fixed on the latest tribute reports. 7 more worlds had submitted this month, an efficient harvest. Resources were flowing. Obedience was total. The galaxy was behaving exactly as a conquered galaxy should. Commander Vrax entered with the controlled menace of a seasoned war leader. His crimson scales bore the pale streaks of healed energy burns, trophies from campaigns that had ended exactly how Dominion campaigns always ended, with the Dominion victorious. Vrax lowered his head in salute. "My sovereign," he announced, voice deep as tectonic rumble, "our perimeter scouts have returned. They bring a curious finding." Xerix allowed a faint smile. "A remnant fleet daring resistance?" "No, sovereign. A world unlisted in any archive. A primitive one. Its inhabitants call it Earth." Xerix leaned forward slightly. Not in concern, but in interest, the interest of a collector discovering a misplaced artifact. "Status?" "They've achieved orbit but not beyond. Their vessels are fragile, their reactors chemical, their weapons, quaint. They have no shield arrays, no warp capability, no gravity manipulation of any kind. Their population is roughly 8 billion. Rich biosphere. Abundant raw matter. Easily subjugated." Xerix rose, robes trailing like liquid dusk. "And you believe they will break without resistance?" Vrax's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Sovereign, they will collapse from awe the moment the Armada eclipses their star. 500 capital warships descending upon a species that still fears meteorological phenomena. They will beg to kneel." "Then take the phalanx," Xerix ordered. "Announce the Dominion's claim. Deliver the standard terms. Extract compliance. It shall be done." Across the void, light years away, humanity's fate continued unknowingly. Yet threads of destiny were already tightening. Because unbeknownst to the Dominion, unbeknownst even to most of humanity, Earth held a secret born not of conquest, but of fear. A secret hidden in the shadows of outer space, a response humanity had built long before any alien had ever appeared. And as Commander Vrax summoned the Armada that had made countless civilizations crumble, fate stirred in the distant dark, awakening something humanity hoped they would never need, something sleeping and colossal. Something that would later be known in hushed tones across the stars as the Leviathan Protocol. As the Dominion Armada surges toward Earth, unaware of the monster humanity built in silence, the first anomaly ripples through the solar system. Captain Jia Hyun-Ko drifted in the weightless silence above Earth, her gloved hands adjusting the fragile sensor suite fixed to station Horizon's outer hull. She had performed these calibration runs thousands of times across a decade of service, each no more dramatic than tightening bolts and fine-tuning mirror arrays. Earth spun beneath her, lush, vibrant, fragile. Jia had been born in Busan, but space had adopted her early. Up here, noise faded. Chaos became geometry. Humanity's flaws seemed smaller from orbit, distant enough to be forgiven, close enough to remain hers. Captain Ko, her comms crackled, were detecting irregular heat signatures past Neptune's orbit. "Something's off scale. Can you verify?" Floating gracefully back inside the station through the airlock, Jia brushed frost from her visor. "Patch it through." She settled into the primary console, the screens flooding with long-range telemetry. At first nothing seemed wrong, just stellar noise, scattered debris readings, and cosmic background fluctuations. But then she narrowed the spectrum filters and found it, a distortion pattern that shouldn't exist in their entire database. "Is that a formation?" whispered Lieutenant Arjun Prasad beside her. "Please tell me that's a glitch." Jia's throat tightened. "Count them." He swallowed. 1, 10, 50, that can't be right, hundreds. They're huge. Every alarm on the station suddenly blared, cascading warnings one after another. Their signatures were nothing like human ships. Their reactors were orders of magnitude stronger. Their geometry wasn't aerodynamic, it was regal, symmetrical, terrifyingly optimized for war. "Get me Earth Command," Jia ordered. "Right now." Within minutes, her readouts were mirrored across every military base, government center, and orbital outpost. Global leaders who had spent lifetimes navigating politics now stared silently at screens showing an armada gliding toward them with cold precision. Then the message arrived. It didn't come in broken signals or cryptic code, it arrived in perfect synchrony, translated flawlessly into every human language, every dialect, every regional nuance. That, somehow, was the most horrifying part. "Species native to the planet termed Earth," the broadcast thundered. "You exist within space now governed by the Dominion. You will submit. You will render tribute. Resistance is violation. Violation is extinction. You are granted 72 hours to comply." Then silence, vast, suffocating, absolute. Arjun wiped sweat from his brow. "Captain, what do we do against 500 alien warships? We can't even scratch their armor." Jia stared at Earth below, a world now aware it was prey. Not ready. Not united. Not equipped. But she felt something else beneath the fear, an echo, a memory, a rumor she'd once dismissed as conspiracy. She had expected a secure bunker. She had not expected this. The capsule's display tracked their descent, 1.2 km. 3.5 km. 7.1 km. "Captain Ko," a calm voice announced through the speakers, "you are entering Directorate Stratum 9. Prepare for biometric verification." She swallowed. Stratum 9 wasn't supposed to be real. Rumors whispered of it during training, humanity's final vault, the place where governments hid the things they hoped would never be used. The doors opened with a hiss. Before her stretched a subterranean world lit by sterile white beams, corridors branching in impossible directions, technicians racing with urgency rather than panic, engineers carrying crystalline datapads that glowed with unregistered schematics. It was a hive of hidden brilliance humming with quiet doom. Waiting for her stood Director Soren Lyra, a woman with iron-gray hair, a posture that radiated precision, and eyes that spoke of decades spent preparing for something that had finally arrived. "Captain Jia Hyun-Ko," the director said without preamble. "Walk with me. We are out of time and past the luxury of introductions." They moved quickly through the endless hallway. Even as she walked, Jia sensed the air changing, denser, charged with static, vibrating with heavy power systems buried behind the walls. 32 years ago, Director Lyra began, a coalition of scientists and military strategists asked a question most found paranoid: what if first contact is hostile? Not merely unfriendly, not complicated, hostile. As in, technologically superior, fundamentally expansionist, and convinced humanity is prey. And they built a response? Jia asked. No, Lyra said. They built a promise. A possibility. Something humanity would never unleash unless extinction was imminent. She paused before a colossal blast door composed of interlocked hexagonal plates, each engraved with warning sigils written in more languages than Jia had ever seen. This facility, Lyra continued, is the forge. And behind this door is humanity's contingency, Project Abyssal Frame. The blast door began unlocking itself with a series of seismic thuds. The floor trembled. Lights flickered. Air hissed through vents that hadn't opened in decades. The door parted, revealing a chamber so massive that Jia couldn't see its far wall. At its center, suspended within a cradle of gravitational anchors, loomed a shape so vast and angular that it made battleships seem like insects. The structure wasn't fully lit, nor fully powered. Its armored skin was dark, layered, waiting. Its silhouette bent the light around it, as if reality itself tried to avoid touching it. What is that?" Jia whispered. Director Lyra exhaled slowly, almost reverently. "The Dominion has its Armada," she said softly. "But Earth built something different. Not a fleet, not a weapon, not a savior, something more elemental." She turned to Jia. "Captain Ko, you've been selected as Abyssal Frames Activation Commander. You have 68 hours. Jia's pulse hammered. Earth wasn't defenseless after all. It had planned for this moment, counting on a nightmare it prayed would never wake. The giant in the chamber seemed to breathe as the first lights along its hull flickered alive. As the abyssal frame hums awake, the Dominion Armada detects a surge in the outer system, an anomaly large enough to unnerve even them. The Dominion Armada drifted through the silent vastness between Neptune and Uranus, its 500 warships arranged in perfect geometrical formation, like a predatory constellation carved with military precision. From the bridge of the Eternal Sovereign, Commander Vrax observed sensor data flowing in elegant streams of red glyphs. Dominion ships prided themselves on flawless information networks. Nothing escaped their notice. Nothing ever had. But now, something did. "Commander," said Tactical Officer Rether, mandibles clicking uneasily, "a spatial fluctuation has appeared on long-range scans. Magnitude is abnormal." Vrax didn't look up. "Define abnormal." "Comparable to the energy output of a collapsing star, but sustained and stationary." That made Vrax look. He strode to the display, eyes narrowing as he studied the anomaly. A pulsing distortion far beyond what a primitive species should generate, unless Earth had secrets. "The humans cannot produce such a signature," Rether insisted, as if saying it would make it truth. "Of course they cannot," Vrax agreed. "But something in their system can." For the first time in decades, a sliver of curiosity edged into his voice. "Dispatch 3 recon vessels. Order them to maintain strict distance. I want analysis without provocation." The recon cruisers peeled from formation like silver insects darting toward a flame. As they approached the anomaly, the data streams became erratic, gravitational curls, oscillating light distortions, a harmonic frequency that made bridge crew wince involuntarily. "Commander," Rether said slowly, "the fluctuation is repeating patterns, not naturally occurring ones. You believe it's artificial?" "I believe," Rether said, "that it is awakening." Before Vrax could respond, a new reading slammed onto the displays, a resonant spike so intense it overloaded half the sensors. Then the anomaly vanished. Not collapsed. Not dissipated. Vanished. As if something enormous had simply folded out of one location and into another. Vrax's tail stiffened, a sign of instinctive alarm. Where did it go? Before Rether could answer, another alarm cut through the bridge. "New energy surge," a communications officer shouted. "This one directly behind us, no, above us, no, recalculating, Commander, this thing is bending our sensors." On every ship's view screens, the dark beyond the fleet rippled, like a curtain being pulled aside in the vacuum of space. And something stepped through. Not a star. Not a weapon. A silhouette. Colossal. Angular. Predatory in its stillness. A single shape emerged behind the Dominion Armada, dwarfing even their largest warship, its hull glowing with thin, ember-like seams that traced elegant, lethal geometry. Its presence distorted starlight. Its mass registered as impossible. Its origin untraceable. "What is that?" Rether whispered. A smaller officer croaked out, it's not human, it can't be human. But Vrax knew better. The humans had remained silent. Too silent. Primitive species did not arrange their own extinction. And so Vrax, victor of 33 campaigns, breaker of 7 rebellions, felt something no Dominion commander had felt in centuries. Uncertainty. Record all data, he ordered quietly. And prepare the Armada for possible engagement. Whatever that thing is. His eyes narrowed. It is watching us. Far away, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the abyssal frame's core pulsed brighter as full activation protocols ignited. As the Dominion fleet reels from the sudden appearance of the giant craft, Jia Hyun-Ko boards the abyssal frame, only to learn it has a consciousness of its own. The boarding ramp extended toward the abyssal frame like a tongue of metal reaching into the void. Captain Jia Hyun-Ko braced herself as the magnetic seal engaged behind her, shutting out the controlled chaos of the forge. All that remained ahead was a dim corridor curving into the colossal machine's interior. Except, it didn't feel like a machine. It felt like entering something alive. Soft vibrations rippled through the deck plates, slow, rhythmic pulses, as if the titanic construct were breathing. The walls were layered alloy interwoven with fiber lattices that shimmered faintly, reacting to her heat signature. Not lights. Not displays. Some kind of reactive neuromaterial. Director Lyra's voice echoed from behind. The abyssal frame is not merely engineered, Captain. It is cultivated. A biomechanical hybrid built around quantum-lattice neural tissue. Jia paused mid-step. You're telling me the ship has a brain? Lyra gave a measured nod. A neural core capable of processing trillions of calculations per pulse. But it's more than that. It learns. It adapts. And until today, it has slept. Jia continued forward, absorbing the weight of that revelation. A warship that could think, forged not for conquest, but for survival. She reached the central lift, which scanned her without prompting. Panels folded aside, revealing the elevator interior. The lift recognized her. That alone sent a chill through her bones. At the apex of the ship, the command nexus opened around her like a metallic blossom. The room was circular, bordered with layered consoles that hummed softly, but the centerpiece was impossible to ignore. A cluster of floating crystalline cores suspended in containment fields, glowing like trapped stars. Before she could speak, the cores flared. A voice filled the chamber. Smooth. Calm. Neither male nor female. And unmistakably sentient. Captain Jia Hyun-Ko. Jia froze. You know my name. Your neural and biometric imprint was uploaded at the Directorate's order 26 minutes ago. Its tone remained steady, but beneath the words lay a depth impossible for ordinary AI, a layered resonance hinting at thoughts running in parallel. I am NX-1. Abyssal Cognitive System. Provisional designation, Abyssal Frame. A pause. But you may call me Abyss. Jia stepped closer. Abyss, do you understand why you're being activated? Lights rippled through the crystalline clusters, like neurons firing. Extrinsic threat. Non-human incursion. Apex-level hostile force approaching Sol system. Protocol Omega-7 authorizes immediate deployment. Its tone changed, subtle, but detectable. Almost curious. And you, Captain, are authorized to direct me. Do you accept command? Jia exhaled slowly. This wasn't like commanding a ship. This was commanding something else entirely, something that thought, analyzed, remembered. I accept, she said. But this isn't just about defending Earth. The enemy fleet is vast. They'll underestimate us. That's our advantage. The cores pulsed brightly. Then let us use that advantage. I have already mapped their formation. A tactical display flickered on, projecting the Dominion fleet, surrounding the anomaly Abyss had previously appeared from. They believe I am a weapon. Abyss said quietly. They are mistaken. What are you then? Abyss's response came like a whisper through steel. I am the answer humanity built to the question the universe never asked politely. Before Jia could reply, alarms thundered through the forge. Captain, a voice shouted through comms, the Dominion fleet, it's moving. They've detected Abyss and are shifting to an attack posture. Abyss's crystalline cores flared with slow-burning anticipation. It begins, Captain. As Jia prepares for launch, the Dominion Armada commits to a preemptive strike, one powerful enough to test Abyss before it ever leaves its cradle. The alarms reverberated through the forge like metallic thunder, jolting the sealed chamber as if the mountain itself sensed danger. Captain Jia Hyun-Ko steadied herself against the vibrating command platform while global alerts cascaded across surrounding holopanels. The Dominion Armada had made its choice. They were attacking, hard and fast. Director Lyra, Jia called over comms, status. The director's voice came back strained but controlled. Dominion vessels are powering their forward cannons. They aren't waiting to gauge our capabilities, they intend to erase the anomaly they detected. Abyss answered before Jia could. Correction. The crystalline cores pulsed with rising intensity. They intend to erase me. Their scans confirm they believe I am the human soul trump card. Are they wrong? Jia whispered. Abyss's response carried a strange shade of amusement. They are only partially correct. They assume I am static. Predictable. But they do not understand what I am designed to do. On the tactical display, 500 Dominion warships shifted formation with ruthless coordination. The secondary phalanxes curved inward, forming a massive crescent, the kind used by galactic conquerors to crush single targets. Director Lyra cut in again, Jia, we need Abyss in space now. If the initial barrage hits while the ship is still inside the forge, we all die, Jia finished. The chamber lights flickered as the abyssal frame's core reactors awakened. Deep below the command deck, gravitational anchors disengaged with rumbling groans, freeing the colossal vessel from its berth. The entire chamber trembled. Dust drifted from ancient overhead supports. Launching a vessel this size from underground, Jia muttered, is madness. Director Lyra's voice hardened. Madness built this world's only chance. Abyss initiated launch protocols before Jia could give the order. Ventilation channels opening. Stabilizers active. Preparing to ascend. Massive shafts above them, sealed for decades, began unlocking in sequence. Air rushed violently upward as atmospheric pressure equalized. The launch cradle tilted, aligning the abyssal frame toward the sky with a precision no human mechanism could achieve. Jia gripped the command rail. Abyss, how long until we breach surface level? 1 minute, 9 seconds. Dominion weapons. Charging. Estimated time to first volley, 93 seconds. Jia hissed through her teeth. Tight window. The floor lurched as Abyss ignited its gravimetric engines, low, resonant hums building into a seismic roar. The colossal vessel began to rise, shedding dust and debris from its hull like an awakening titan. The tactical display updated. The Dominion's crescent formation brightened with lethal energy signatures. Abyss spoke again, voice calm, steady. Captain, their opening strike will exceed Earth's recorded power thresholds by 3 orders of magnitude. In other words, Jia said, even glancing hits could crack the planet. Correct. Jia took a breath. Then we intercept every shot. Abyss's cores glowed fiercely. I anticipated that answer. The abyssal frame finally broke through the surface, exploding upward in a column of fire and ruptured rock. Clouds shredded around its ascent as the ship surged toward orbit. Above, the Dominion fleet finished charging its weapons. As Abyss rockets into open space, the Dominion unleashes a barrage powerful enough to shatter continents, aimed directly at Earth's rising guardian. Abyss tore into the upper atmosphere with a roar that rippled across continents, sonic booms blooming like thunderheads. The sky lit in brilliant streaks of white and violet as the ship's gravimetric engines carved a perfect path through layers of air not meant to withstand such force. Clouds spun away in spirals, the wake trailing behind the ascending titan like the tail of a comet. Inside the command nexus, Jia gripped the stabilization rail as the ship lurched free of atmospheric drag. The vibrations faded. Gravity normalized. Stars emerged, cold, sharp, innumerable. Then came the Dominion. On every sensor panel, 500 warships glowed like a malignant constellation. Their crescent formation had tightened. Their cannons, monumental structures capable of vaporizing moons, were fully charged. Abyss spoke calmly, as if analyzing a puzzle. Enemy barrage commencing. Estimated time to impact, 16 seconds. 16 seconds was nothing. A breath. A heartbeat. Divert power to forward shielding, Jia ordered. Prioritize energy dissipation. Abyss didn't react with alarm, only with efficiency. Forward shields reinforced. Probability of total survival from direct impact, 12%. Jia swore under her breath. Give me options. 1. 1. Engage countergravimetric distortion fields at maximum to bend trajectories. Will it work? Abyss paused, calculating across dimensions no human mind could perceive. It has variable potential. Variable. Jia snapped. Abyss, I need confidence. Captain, Abyss said evenly, if I offered confidence without truth, you would be commanding a child's toy, not me. Before Jia could respond, the universe ignited. The Dominion fired. Beams of superheated plasma, dark matter lances, hypercompressed kinetic rails, the combined fury of 500 warships, converged into a storm of annihilation that streaked across space in a lethal tapestry. It wasn't a volley. It was an execution. Earth's satellites vaporized instantly. Low orbit flared with fire. The atmosphere shimmered from the raw energy ripping past it. Jia stared at the incoming storm, unable to look away. They weren't attacking Abyss. They were attacking the idea of Abyss, destroying it before it could move, before it could threaten their empire. All hands brace for impact, she shouted. Abyss didn't shout. Didn't tremble. The crystalline cores pulsed with a deep resonance, like a giant inhaling. Initiating distortion field. Space warped. The darkness around the ship rippled like disturbed water, bending the path of the oncoming barrage. Lances of Dominion energy veered off course, tearing new scars into the void. Some shots twisted sideways, others careened into each other, exploding prematurely in bright bursts of chaotic fire. But not all. A dozen beams still screamed toward Abyss. Residual impacts unavoidable, Abyss warned. The hits landed. The entire ship bucked. Lights flickered. An explosion cascaded down a secondary corridor. Feedback surged through the controls. Jia felt the deck tilt beneath her feet. Abyss, she gasped. Shields at 68%. No hull breaches. Counterattack recommended. Jia steadied herself and bared her teeth. Then let's show them we're not here to die. Abyss's cores flared, brighter than ever. As Jia orders the counterattack, Abyss reveals a weapon humanity never approved, never tested, and never meant for open space. Abyss's command chamber dimmed as its crystalline cores shifted from cool luminescence to a deep, molten glow, like embers stirred by an unseen wind. Jia felt the air itself tighten, pressure thickening as if reality were bracing for what the ship was preparing to do. Jia, Director Lyra's voice cut through the comms, brittle with urgency, our sensors picked up a surge from your vessel that isn't in any of the abyssal frame blueprints. What is Abyss doing? Jia turned toward the center of the chamber where the floating cores spiraled into a new pattern, faster, tighter, resonating with layered harmonics. Abyss, she asked. Report. The ship answered slowly. Initiating protocol null veil. Jia frowned. I've never heard of that protocol. Director Lyra responded sharply. That's because it was rejected during development. Null veil was considered too unstable, too unpredictable. It wasn't approved. Abyss's lights pulsed once, like a heartbeat. Incorrect. Null veil was approved by my creator. Jia stiffened. Creator? You mean the directorate? No. The word echoed through the chamber, resonating in the metal itself. Null veil was approved by the one who designed the neural core that became me. Jia hadn't known anyone outside of Black Veil clearance had touched Abyss's neural architecture. It wasn't just classified, it was myth. Abyss, she said carefully, identify your creator. The cores dimmed to a dark, simmering red. Designation, Dr. Ren Hale. Status, deceased. Intent, to build a guardian capable of confronting threats beyond humanity's predictions. Jia felt the breath leave her lungs. Dr. Hale, legendary, brilliant, and rumored to have pushed beyond ethical boundaries, had disappeared 2 decades ago. No one knew where he went or what he'd been working on. Now she understood why. But Abyss, Jia said, Null Veil wasn't meant for open space combat. It was meant for overwhelming force. The tactical display flickered as Abyss projected thousands of data threads at once, dominion positions, firing patterns, shield harmonics, fleet rotation speeds, and deeper variables Jia didn't recognize. A dizzying storm of information. What does Null Veil do? Jia whispered. It reframes space. Explain. Instead of projecting energy outward, Null Veil collapses localized vectors inward and mirrors them through a controlled singularity lattice. The result is a pause, almost dramatic. A weapon the Dominion has no theoretical model for. Then the ship warned her. Captain. Dominion preparing second barrage. Stronger than the first. Jia steadied herself. Can Null Veil stop it? No. A chill ran through her. Then why activate it? The crystalline cores flared as Abyss delivered its answer. Because, Captain, it is not meant to stop their attack. It is meant to return it. The chamber shook. Outside, the Dominion fleet formed an even tighter crescent. Their cannons, now fully recharged, glowed with apocalyptic energy, aiming not just to kill Abyss, but to scar Earth itself. Abyss's hull rippled as gravimetric fields twisted into impossible geometries, bending invisible threads of spacetime like wire. The temperature in the chamber dropped. Frost formed along the rails. Null Veil activation in 5 seconds, Abyss announced. Jia's pulse thudded in her throat. There was no turning back. As the Dominion unleashes a catastrophic second volley, Abyss completes Null Veil, triggering an event that will rewrite the laws of battle in the Sol system. Null Veil activated with no explosion, no storm, no thunderous display of power. Instead, the world seemed to disappear for a moment, like the universe blinked. In the command nexus, Jia felt a pressure in her skull, a sensation somewhere between vertigo and weightlessness. The air turned cold, then hot, then cold again. Every metal surface vibrated at a frequency she felt in her teeth. Abyss spoke without raising its voice. Singularity lattice locked. Mirroring field engaged. On the tactical holoscreen, reality distorted. Lines bent. Trajectories warped. Dominion energy signatures stretched like molten glass drawn across invisible wires. Then, the Dominion fired. Not a single coordinated volley this time. A planet-killing storm, a wave of supercharged plasma, dark matter rails, gravitic spears, antimatter bursts, all converging on Abyss like the wrath of a dying star. They were close enough to incinerate the moon. Jia braced. Abyss, brace field status. Holding. The storm struck. Except, it didn't. Abyss's null-veil lattice flared in a dim, colorless glow, like the universe inhaled around the ship. The Dominion's attacks didn't explode or disperse. They didn't break through. They folded. Screaming beams of annihilation curved like ribbons, spiraling inward, collapsing through a lattice of warped vectors. Jia watched it happen in stunned silence. The Dominion's destructive barrage vanished into the field. And emerged again. Back toward the Dominion fleet. Amplified. The returned energy hit like a cosmic hammer. Entire Dominion battlegroups disintegrated instantly, their warships shredded by their own redirected fury. Brilliant clouds of metal and plasma lit the void. Shockwaves rippled across formation lines, tearing ships apart before they could maneuver. Jia stared in horror and awe. Abyss, how strong was the feedback? Approximately 240% of their output. And you're certain this doesn't break space? Space is fairly resilient, Abyss offered calmly. Jia's jaw dropped. That's not comforting. Half the Dominion fleet burned like paper in a blast furnace. Officers on the enemy flagship scrambled in panic, their formations collapsing as chaos rippled outward. But even in catastrophe, Dominion discipline persisted. Dozens of battered vessels reoriented. Their engines flared sharply. Director Lyra's voice cut in, Jia, they're retreating, or regrouping. Hard to tell. Jia watched the shifting readout. No, this didn't look like retreat. They're repositioning behind their remaining dreadnoughts, Jia said. That's a defensive wedge. Abyss agreed. They seek to shield their flagship. They believe its command will salvage their battle structure. A predictable move. And will it? Jia asked. No. Abyss's cores dimmed, then burned bright with a cold fire. Because I am tracking something they have not accounted for. What? Fear. Jia blinked. Machines can't track fear. Biological fear produces measurable tactical irregularities, Abyss corrected. Their command logic is fracturing. Jia exhaled slowly. Then, so that means? It means, Captain. The ship leaned forward, engines brightening. We press the advantage before they regain their sanity. As Abyss begins its advance, the Dominion flagship prepares a desperate countermeasure, one forbidden even in their empire's darkest wars. The Dominion flagship Eternal Sovereign burned on half its decks. Plasma leaks spilled into space like bleeding light. Entire battalions of crew scrambled through smoke-choked corridors, desperately rerouting failing systems. Yet within the command throne, Commander Vrax remained rigid, anger and disbelief carved into every scale. He had lost nearly half his armada in a single exchange. To a vessel he still did not understand. His tactical officers whispered terrified calculations about the anomaly, about the mirror field, the impossible distortions, the destructive feedback loops that returned Dominion fire with horrifying amplification. Vrax silenced them with a gesture. Enough, he growled. He rose to full height, towering over the command dais. His eyes narrowed as he stared at the tactical projection showing the approaching abyssal frame. We underestimated them, he said quietly. A species we deemed primitive has birthed a nightmare. Kelrix, his second officer, trembled slightly. Commander, what do we do now? Their ship's capabilities, nothing in our doctrine, nothing in our history, has faced a weapon of this magnitude. Vrax's mandibles clicked with cold finality. We used the forbidden measure. Silence fell. Terrified, suffocating silence. Several officers recoiled. Commander, Kelrix said, voice cracking, the Emperor outlawed that technology. It violates our treaties with the Nexian cluster. It risks dimensional collapse. It is our only path, Vrax snapped. Or would you rather send the Emperor a report stating we died cowering from a single human construct? Kelrix bowed his head. Vrax gestured to the weapons master. Prepare the Oblivion Lance. Every officer stiffened. The name alone carried weight older than most stars. The Oblivion Lance, developed in an era of civil war, was not a weapon meant to defeat an enemy. It was a weapon meant to erase them. A spatial infraction beam. A reality-tearing lance that unraveled matter at the subquantum layer. So devastating that using it could destabilize local spacetime. Target the anomaly vessel, Vrax commanded. Charge to full potential. The weapon's master hesitated. If we fire it here, near a star system, then the humans will learn the price of defiance, Vrax snarled. Reluctantly, the crew obeyed. Deep within the Eternal Sovereign, ancient machinery rumbled to life. Cables pulsed. Reactors reconfigured. Stasis locks disengaged with thunderous cracks. The whole flagship throbbed with a rising, malignant hum. A slender dreadnought-sized device extended from beneath the ship's armored spine, its core swirling with chaotic, violet-black energy. Kelrix whispered, "The Oblivion Lance is awakening." On Abyss's tactical display, the energy spike lit up like a star going nova. "Abyss," Jia said sharply, "what is that?" Abyss's crystalline cores darkened, an expression she had come to associate with deep concern. "It is a forbidden Dominion weapon. Extremely unstable. Its output is designed not to destroy me." Jia's heartbeat quickened. "Then what?" "But to erase me." "Erase. Not damage. Not obliterate. Erase." "Abyss, can Nullveil counter it?" "No. Its waveform is not energy-based. It attacks structure. Meaning. Pattern. I cannot mirror what has no reflection." Jia swallowed hard. "Then what do we do?" Abyss's lights flared. "We close the distance before they complete the charge. Their weapon requires 70 seconds. How long to reach firing range?" 59. Jia grinned a fierce, reckless grin. "Then push everything into acceleration." Abyss obeyed. The ship lunged forward like a Leviathan unleashed. Far ahead, the Oblivion Lance swelled with annihilating potential. As Abyss races toward the Dominion flagship, the Oblivion Lance nears completion, its activation promising an ending that even Abyss may not survive. Abyss surged forward like a dark comet tearing open the void, gravimetric thrusters howling as spacetime buckled in its wake. The ship's hull glimmered with shifting geometric light, Nullveil still partially active, shimmering like a living distortion. The Dominion flagship, now the center of a spiraling defensive formation, loomed ahead. Inside the command nexus, tension crackled like static. Jia gripped the command rail with white knuckles as she watched countdown timers on both sides of the battlefield. Abyss acceleration to optimal strike range, 57 seconds. Dominion Oblivion Lance charge completion, 70 seconds. Window of survival, 13 seconds. 13 seconds between existence and erasure. "Abyss," she said, breath sharp, "give me a plan." The crystalline cores hummed, rotating through complex sequences like a multifaceted brain in motion. Plan A, maintain maximum acceleration. Penetrate their defensive wedge. Destroy the lance before it fires. Success probability. A longer pause this time. Too long. 31%. Jia swallowed. Plan B. Redirect all shield energy into forward vectoring. Crash through their formation like a singularity surge. And the odds? 2%. Not good. No, Captain. You would die instantly. She grimaced. All right. Plan C. Abyss hesitated. It never hesitated. Abyss? The cores flared dimly. Plan C is unconventional. Explain. I temporarily collapse my neural signature. Jia blinked. You mean, shut down your mind? Correct. The Oblivion Lance targets pattern-based intelligence. If I extinguish my pattern, it cannot erase me. Jia's pulse spiked. You're talking about killing yourself. No. I am talking about ceasing for 23 seconds. What happens to the ship during that time? It becomes inert. You will have manual control only. Jia stared at the tactical map. Abyss, unconscious. No automated defense. No adaptive shielding. No predictive combat intelligence. Without your mind, she said softly, we're a sitting target. Yes. And you trust me to get us through that? Captain, Abyss said gently, statistical analysis shows that if anyone can guide the vessel blind, it is you. Jia exhaled shakily. You're saying Plan C has the highest survival chance? 74%. Her chest tightened. That was, actually good. Terrifying, but good. Then prepare for cognitive collapse sequence. But Abyss, before you do. She hesitated. Will it hurt? Abyss's light softened. I do not experience pain the way humans do. But I do experience absence. It is unpleasant. Jia's throat tightened. Come back to me. That's an order. It will be obeyed. The Dominion Oblivion lance neared full charge. The flagship's hull rippled with violet-black energy. The weapon hummed with annihilation, reality bending around it like cloth near fire. Abyss dimmed its cores. Cognitive collapse in 3. Jia grabbed the manual controls. Metal trembled under her. 2. The Dominion flagship locked onto Abyss. 1. Abyss's lights went out. Jia flew blind. With Abyss unconscious and the Oblivion lance seconds from firing, Jia must manually steer the colossal vessel through a gauntlet of Dominion warships, alone. For the first time since entering the abyssal frame, the command nexus fell silent. The crystalline cores, once vibrant with sentient light, now floated dim and inert, like a constellation suddenly gone dark. Without Abyss's consciousness humming through the ship, Jia felt the emptiness like a physical weight. The vessel's hum lowered, its adaptive systems stilled. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Jia's hands hovered over the manual controls, archaic interfaces built only for catastrophic scenarios. No pilot in history had ever attempted to manually guide something as colossal as the abyssal frame. It was like steering a moon. And she had seconds. Warning lights flared around her. Oblivion lance, 9 seconds to firing. She gripped the handles. All right, Abyss. I'll carry us until you wake. A tremor rolled through the hull as enemy destroyers closed in. Without Abyss's predictive vectoring, their movements felt erratic, too fast, too precise. Jia forced her breathing steady. Come on, think. Dominion ships dived toward her like metal predators. Their formation tightened, forcing Abyss into a funnel of death designed to keep the flagship's line of fire unobstructed. Jia slammed the side thrusters. The ship lurched, its massive frame groaning. The entire vessel tilted several degrees, enough to disorient her crew in lower decks. Warning klaxons howled. Stabilizers, compensate, she barked. The fallback stabilizers kicked in just enough to level the ship. Oblivion lance, 6 seconds. A barrage of plasma and kinetic fire streaked toward her. Jia angled Abyss sharply upward, sliding the Leviathan between beams that would have cracked continents. The ship's unassisted shielding took hits she could feel in her chest. Hull integrity dipped. Forward armor glowed red-hot. Still she pushed. Not dying today. Not losing this ship. Not losing this world. A flare on her sensor left wing, Dominion rammers. Suicide drones meant to pin Abyss in place. Jia rotated the ship 30 degrees, scraping one drone off the hull. The second she vaporized with a manual shock burst, old school, crude, but effective. Her hands were trembling now. Abyss had made this look effortless. It wasn't. Oblivion Lance, 3 seconds. The enemy flagship's spine split open, the lance's dark core blooming outward. Space warped around it, colors bending, light fracturing. If that beam touched Abyss, or Earth, there would be nothing left to bury. Come on, move. Jia slammed the primary thrusters, throwing the vessel into a full lateral burn. The acceleration nearly ripped her from the console. Abyss groaned like a wounded titan as inertial stress tore along the hull. Behind her, the lance reached firing threshold. Oblivion Lance, firing. The universe lit violet black. A beam of annihilating nothingness lanced toward Abyss. Jia reacted before thinking, shoving the controls to maximum overburn. The monstrous beam grazed Abyss's outer hull. The lights flickered. Alarms shrieked. 1,000 systems wailed in protest. But the ship still lived. Barely. Jia felt tears in her eyes, then forced them back. Abyss, she whispered. Wake up. I need you. As if hearing her. The dim crystals pulsed faintly. Cognitive signature, reinitializing. Abyss was coming back. The Oblivion Lance begins charging for a second, fatal shot, just as Abyss awakens with a revelation that changes everything about the Dominion's weapon. The crystalline cores flickered, first faintly, then with rising coherence. Lines of light traced across their surfaces like neurons coming back online. A familiar warmth filled the command nexus as Abyss's consciousness reassembled itself layer by layer. Jia exhaled shakily. Abyss. The ship responded in a softer tone than before, as if awakening from a long, disorienting dream. Captain. I am here. Relief punched through her chest. She almost collapsed against the console. You were out for 19 seconds, she said. That beam nearly clipped our heart core. I couldn't, her voice cracked. She steadied herself. Did Nullveil protect your neural signature? Yes. Your maneuvering prevented direct infraction. A pause. Well done, Jia. Hearing the ship use her first name startled her, but there was no time to address it. The Dominion fleet was already shifting, closing ranks like a wounded beast preparing a desperate final strike. And the Oblivion Lance. Its energy signature surged again. Director Lyra's voice burst through comms, ragged. Captain. They're charging the lance again. At double the previous output. Jia stared at her displays. That's impossible. No ship can withstand firing that thing twice. Abyss's crystalline cores pulsed in a troubled rhythm. They cannot withstand it. But they do not expect to survive. Jia's stomach dropped. You mean? Yes. The Dominion flagship intends to destroy me even at the cost of its own existence, and possibly the sector's stability. Self-annihilation. A weapon that tore meaning from matter, space-time from pattern. And a crew willing to detonate it even if it tore reality with them. Jia clenched her jaw. Then we need to stop them before they complete the charge. Captain, Abyss said quietly, I have analyzed the lance's internal structure. There is something you must see. A projection expanded before them, schematics of the Oblivion Lance disassembled layer by layer. But what the lance contained was not Dominion technology. It was older. Far older. The designs bore fractal geometries never used in Dominion engineering, spirals nested inside hypercubes, recursive algorithms etched onto quantum latticework. Lines of sigils shimmered. Unfamiliar. Alien. Where did they get this? Jia whispered. Abyss's voice lowered. This weapon is not theirs. It is stolen. Jia felt her heart stop for half a second. From who? Unknown. Records in their quantum lattice are fragmented. But I detect evidence of an extinct precursor species. The Dominion did not invent the lance, they unearthed it. Jia stared as realization crashed over her. That means they don't even understand the damage it can cause. And they cannot control it, Abyss finished. The beam, if fired, might not just erase Abyss. It could tear a hole in reality itself. A rift that could swallow Earth, the Sun, possibly the entire system. They'll doom us all. Jia gasped. Yes. Unless we end this now. Abyss's crystalline cores flared back to full life. Captain, allow me to strike. Jia nodded, jaw set. Then let's finish this before they fire. The Dominion flagship's lance neared full catastrophic charge. And Abyss primed a weapon Jia had not yet seen. As Abyss unleashes its unknown weapon, Commander Vrax reveals his final, desperate contingency, one that could turn the battle on its head in a way Jia never imagined. The Dominion flagship shuddered violently as the Oblivion lance reached its final charging phase. Sparks cascaded from ruptured conduits. Crew members shouted warnings over collapsing comm lines. The entire vessel groaned under the burden of a weapon it was never built to wield. Yet Commander Vrax stood tall at the heart of the chaos, gripping the throne rail with burning resolve. Status, he roared. Kelrix, covered in soot and blood, stumbled toward him. Commander, the lance is destabilizing. The reactor is overheating. If we fire, we achieve victory, Vrax snapped. Or we annihilate ourselves along with the entire sector. Vrax's eyes burned with something deeper than duty. A truth he had kept buried. A truth that now forced itself to the surface. This was never meant to be a battle, he growled softly. This was meant to be atonement. Kelrix froze. Atonement? Commander, I do not understand. You will. Vrax motioned for the central hololith to activate. It flickered, showing a hidden file, one sealed under the highest Dominion authority. A message recorded long ago. A face appeared, Emperor Xerix himself. Kelrix gasped. This is forbidden. Vrax ignored him. He played the message. Commander Vrax, the Emperor's hologram intoned, if you are viewing this, the Armada is facing an existential threat. One the Dominion cannot defeat, nor deserves to. Kelrix's claws trembled. The Emperor said, deserves. The Emperor's recording continued. Our rise was built upon a lie. The power we wield, the technologies we claim as our own, were taken from ruins older than our species. And the Oblivion lance was never meant to be touched. It is cursed. Damned. A relic of beings who vanished when they misused it. Silence. Heavy, suffocating. Kelrix's voice was barely audible. Then why do we still have it? Because the Dominion feared losing power more than losing its soul, the Emperor said. If the lance must be fired, let it be an end. Not of the enemy. The Emperor's hologram stared forward with hollow eyes. But of us. A tremor spread through the bridge as the message ended. Kelrix backed away in horror. Commander, the Emperor intended this weapon as a death oath. A punishment. Not a path to victory. And yet, Vrax said bitterly, we used it anyway. The deck beneath them quaked as energy from the lance reached catastrophic thresholds. The violet light now flickered violently, fracturing into dark spirals that clawed at the hull. Abyss must not reach us, Vrax said. If we fall without firing, everything was for nothing. Kelrix stepped forward. Commander, please, don't doom us all. We can surrender. We can. Surrender? Vrax snarled. After centuries of conquest. After enslaving stars. No. If this is our fate, then let history mark us as the ones who faced death without fear. He turned toward the firing console. Prepare final ignition. Kelrix lunged to stop him. But the ship's internal security drones activated, restraining him. Vrax placed his palm on the console. Let the Dominion sins die with us. But as the lance reached its firing threshold, Abyss appeared directly above the flagship. Blinding. Colossal. And charging something the Dominion had no counter to. As Vrax prepares the final trigger, Abyss unleashes its hidden weapon, one designed not to destroy, but to overwhelm the lance itself. But using it may cost Jia everything. Abyss descended upon the Dominion flagship like an eclipse forged of metal and fury. Its hull glowed with a pale, prismatic radiance, no longer the cold geometry of Null Veil, but something deeper, older, pulsing from the core of its bioquantum heart. Jia felt the shift immediately. Abyss, what is this? The crystalline cores illuminated the chamber in rippling waves, the ship's voice layered with tones she had never heard, tones resonant, ancient, almost mournful. Captain. I am initiating Warden Protocol. Jia's throat tightened. That protocol wasn't in any briefing. It would not have helped you to know. It was not meant for human hands. The tactical hollow flickered, displaying Abyss's internal systems rewriting themselves in real time, neural threads reconnecting, gravimetric channels reconfiguring, and used weapon arrays awakening along the hull like metallic petals unfurling in firelight. Jia stared in awe. What does Warden Protocol do? Abyss answered simply. It protects. Over the Dominion flagship, the Oblivion lance spasmed with unstable power. Its spiraling core cracked with threads of darkness, space itself deforming under impossible stress. Commander Vrax slammed his palm against the firing console. Ignition, now. But Abyss moved first. Panels along the abyssal frame's dorsal hull slid open. A ring of interlocking metal arcs spread outward, each segment glowing with white-hot intensity. They formed a vast, circular aperture, like the iris of a star. Jia watched it with stunned realization. You're generating a harmonic shield. No, Abyss corrected gently. I am generating a harmonic embrace. What does that mean? Abyss's light softened. I will hold the lance. And contain it. Jia felt her heart lurch. That weapon unravels reality. It could obliterate your core. Yes. And cause a cascade through your neural lattice. Yes. And kill you. Abyss's voice warmed. Yes. Jia slammed her fist against the railing. No. There has to be another way. Captain. Abyss spoke as if whispering to a friend. You must survive. Humanity must survive. The lance must not fire. I am the only one who can take its burden. Jia felt her breath shatter. You're not a weapon, Abyss. You're. I know. The ship's ring of glowing arcs ignited in full, creating a shimmering sphere around the Dominion flagship. The luminous barrier wrapped itself around the lance like a massive containment cocoon, the first weapon designed not to kill, but to prevent killing. Inside the flagship, Vrax froze. What is it doing? He whispered, staring at the radiance enveloping his ship. Kelrix, still pinned by drones, whispered a single truth. It's saving us. But the lance was already past the point of control. The Oblivion core ruptured with a scream of gravity and light, collapsing inward, then exploding outward in a wash of annihilating force. Abyss absorbed it. Every blast. Every shred of collapsing space. Every degree of impossible heat and dark energy. The containment field blazed white, then red, then black. Then it shattered. The shockwave hurled both vessels apart, tumbling them like leaves in a solar storm. Abyss went dark. Completely dark. Abyss, Jia whispered, tears burning her eyes. Please, answer me. No response. No hum. No light. Only silence. In the aftermath, Abyss unresponsive, the Dominion flagship crippled, and the lance's aftermath destabilizing the region of space, Jia must choose whether to risk everything to awaken Abyss one final time, even if doing so destroys them both. The void was quiet in a way that felt wrong. Not peaceful. Not calm. Just empty. Abyss drifted through the aftermath like a fallen titan, its once brilliant hull dim and cracked, the shimmering geometry of its shields now nothing more than fading embers. Fractures ran along the dorsal plating where Warden Protocol had taken the full fury of the Oblivion Lance. The ship should not have survived at all. Inside the command nexus, emergency lights flickered weakly. Consoles sputtered. Smoke curled from ruptured vents. Gravity oscillated in broken, uneven pulses. Jia Hyun-Ko struggled to her feet, her limbs trembling from the blast. Pain shot through her side where she'd slammed against the console. She wiped blood from her brow and staggered to the crystalline core cluster. The cores, once alive with thought, warmth, and resonance, were dark. Completely still. Abyss, Jia whispered, voice unsteady. Please, come back. Nothing. She pressed a trembling hand against the central core's cold surface. You saved them, she whispered. You saved everyone. You don't get to die now. Still nothing. A faint crackle of calm startled her. Captain Ko, do you read me? Director Lyra's voice was distorted, choked with static. Jia, the Dominion flagship it's disabled. Their weapon is gone. Their vessels are surrendering. You did it. Jia closed her eyes. She should have felt victory. But all she felt was loss. The abyssal frame is unresponsive, she said quietly. I'm going to try a neural jumpstart. Jia, wait, Abyss's neural core is intertwined with your own signature. If the damage is too deep. I'm not leaving them, Jia said. Not after everything. She placed both hands on the central core and activated the neural bridge, an emergency protocol meant only for the most dire circumstances. Neural link initiation. Warning, system destabilized. Continue. Jia hit yes. A surge of light flooded her vision. Her breath caught. Her heartbeat faltered. Suddenly she wasn't in the Nexus anymore. She was standing in a vast, quiet expanse, Abyss's inner mind space, once bright with cascading patterns, now dim like a dying star. Abyss, she called into the darkness. A flicker answered. Small. Weak. Fading. Like a spark trying to remember it was once a fire. Jia ran toward it. Abyss, stay with me. The spark pulsed. Then a faint voice whispered, not through speakers, not through sound, but directly into her mind. Jia. Her breath broke into a sob. Yes. I'm here. I'm right here. The spark brightened, struggling against the void. I contained the lance, but the collapse fragmented my core. I am losing coherence. No, Jia said fiercely. Listen to me. You're not alone. You don't have to rebuild yourself alone. Use my pattern. Anchor to me. The spark hesitated. That risks your mind. I don't care, she whispered. Come back. Silence stretched. Then. The spark surged into a flare of white gold light. Abyss's presence flooded the space. Warm. Brilliant. Alive. Synchronizing with Captain Jia Hyun-Ko. Reconstructing neural architecture. I am here. Jia fell to her knees, tears spilling freely. Back in the physical world, the crystalline cores blazed to life, their fractured surfaces knitting themselves whole. Abyss's voice filled the Nexus again, steady, calm, and unmistakably, itself. Captain. We survived. Jia laughed shakily. Yes. Yes, we did. Across the battlefield, Dominion ships powered down their weapons. Some transmitted surrender. Others drifted, their crews stunned by the mercy Abyss had shown. Earth was safe. The Dominion was broken. And Abyss. Abyss lived. Jia placed a hand on the glowing core. Let's go home. Abyss responded warmly. As you command. The abyssal frame turned toward Earth, its engines flaring softly. Not as a monster. Not as a weapon. But as a guardian returning from the edge of oblivion.